Jimmy Butler once personified the hustle and heart that many fans claim is missing from modern basketball.
Jimmy Butler put it in with 3/10 of a second left and got fouled.
Stories of his unrelenting work ethic, Cinderella ascents to NBA stardom, and fierce playoff showdowns made him a poster child for determination.
I love the game, and I don't do it for any other reason except for to compete.
Yet today, he stands at the center of what critics see as the league's biggest problems: huge contracts for aging stars, load management, and drama overshadowing genuine competition.
In Miami, he suspended Jimmy Butler again. The Heat suspended Jimmy Butler again.
It says drama does not just walk into your life. Either you create it, invite it, or associate with it.
Is Butler's quest for another massive payday, while missing key games, a snapshot of why the NBA is said to be broken, or does his story merely reflect deeper league-wide failings? Before we dive into the woes of Jimmy, we want to remind you that our Hoop Hype store is open. Hoodies, tees, and mugs that represent your love for basketball. Hit the link in the description or tap View Products to support the channel. Jimmy Butler's rise in the NBA was nothing short of remarkable. Drafted 30th overall in 2011.
I'm just gonna work, keep working, and work some more like I've always done. And on June 23rd, I just hope to hear my name called.
He clawed his way from a limited role in Chicago to become one of the league's most tenacious defenders.
Harris so good, double team by Bam to knock it free.
And a clutch offensive threat.
Maneuvering against Harris, flipping it up and in.
His apex moments, like his relentless performances in the 2020 bubble or surprise finals runs with the Miami Heat, showcased a player capable of top-tier stardom. He threw up 40-point triple-doubles.
He banks it in. Oh, what a masterpiece from Jimmy.
And matched superstars bucket for bucket, leading many to see him as a top 10 or top 15 star at his best. Yet the flip side is equally glaring. In certain playoff series, Butler seemingly disappears, posting single-digit scoring lines and appearing disengaged. There's a joke among fans that he morphs into a two-way demon only once the lights are brightest, meaning the rest of the season can range from average to downright unimpressive. This wild variance, from unstoppable to underwhelming, makes Butler a mystery to both teammates and opponents. Some attribute these swings to fatigue or to Butler's style, which hinges on intense physicality and mental warfare.
Butler right now is exhausted with 46.7 remaining. He's got 2 free throws to give the Heat the lead.
Others claim he intentionally coasts through stretches to preserve himself for clutch moments or bigger paydays.
When I look at Jimmy Butler, and I'm not appreciative of what he does in the regular season. So a guy like Jimmy Buckets, who is good in the regular season and then turns it up late, and then all of a sudden we get to the postseason, he's this guy who, this should have been what it was during the regular season. They could have had a higher seed.
Regardless of motive, the disparity undercuts a consistent narrative of Jimmy Buckets as a daily, reliable force. In this sense, Butler encapsulates a common NBA complaint. Star players flip a switch only in nationally televised showdowns or in the playoffs, leaving the regular season with sporadic star presence. For fans paying for tickets or tuning in nightly, this Jekyll and Hyde routine chips away at the game's appeal. They wonder if they'll see the tenacious Butler who once dropped 56 in a playoff thriller, or a quiet version jogging through possessions. The modern NBA is rife with sagas where aging stars hold out for colossal paydays, and Jimmy Butler is no exception. Following his tenure in Philadelphia, where negotiations soured and he left for Miami, he secured a sizable deal with the Heat. That move initially proved golden. He led them to 2 finals appearances, reignited the team's competitive edge, and even resurrected the Heat culture narrative. Now, with Butler in his mid-30s, rumors suggest he desires one final mega contract extension, akin to what younger or truly elite tier players command. Standing in Butler's way is the no-nonsense approach of Pat Riley, a front office legend known for both loyalty to winners and ruthless pragmatism. Throughout Heat history, Riley has let star veterans walk, Shaquille O'Neal, Dwyane Wade, when it no longer made business sense.
You want to win, you gotta be like this. Tight.
Reports say he balked at giving Butler the maximum extension he wants, especially given the star's frequent absences and declining metrics.
Next, you should keep your mouth shut.
Pat said he wouldn't trade him, but let's see how Jimmy Butler reacts to him basically being told he may not get extended.
Predictably, friction mounted. Butler, who thrives on respect and recognition, took it as a slight. He's made cryptic posts, showcased audible frustration post-game,
I feel like I did my job, or what at least my job is now.
and sometimes looked indifferent on court, fueling speculation that he's playing out of dissatisfaction. This standoff is reminiscent of Butler's earlier exits, especially from Minnesota. There, he famously clashed with younger teammates over a perceived lack of competitiveness before forcing his way out.
I was honest. Was I brutally honest? Yes. But I think that's the problem. Everybody's so scared to be honest with one another.
Philadelphia, he and the Sixers parted ways after only half a season of semi-promising synergy. Every time, contract negotiations or disrespect claims played a role. If Heat fans hoped his Miami stint would be different, sustained success, no drama, they're seeing the same story unfold again. Why does this matter for the league as a whole? Because such disputes overshadow the actual basketball being played. The focus shifts from box scores and rivalries to contract figures and star pouting. Fans are bombarded with coverage of will Butler re-sign or is he quitting on the Heat, rather than celebrating epic matchups or signature performances. The sense that some players treat franchises like interchangeable paymasters reflects broader culture critics say is weakening loyalty and storyline continuity, key hooks for any pro sports audience. One hallmark of the Heat culture that Pat Riley so proudly touts is an emphasis on reliability and endurance. Night in and night out, players like Udonis Haslem, Dwyane Wade, and Bam Adebayo have historically prided themselves on suiting up, ready to fight for every possession. Butler, ironically, was supposed to encapsulate that same unbreakable grit, yet over the past 4 or 5 seasons, he's frequently sat out large swaths of regular season games.
And by the way, it's not just the games that he misses. There's another 15-20 games where he looks like he's disinterested in playing offensively.
Whether attributed to legitimate injuries, rest days, or minor ailments ballooned into extended absences, the result is the same. The Heat often face top Eastern Conference opponents without their so-called leader. Even if fans believe in playoff Jimmy, a superstar who emerges once April begins, their frustration grows when the team is stuck jockeying for seeding, especially in a loaded Eastern Conference. Missing 20 to 25 games each year robs both the Heat of crucial wins and fans of stable star power. Jimmy's brand of basketball demands a heavy physical toll. He leans into contact, thrives on post-ups against bigger defenders, and draws fouls via bruising drives. Over a season, that style can lead to legitimate bumps and wear, but critics wonder if he's grown too accustomed to skipping regular season matchups, waiting for the stage he deems worthy of full effort. This rest strategy might yield short-term gains, but it's an eyesore for day-to-day fans. Meanwhile, it contradicts Butler's claim as the ultimate competitor, the same man who famously attacked teammates' softness in Minnesota or criticized co-stars for lacking heart now appears complacent, missing 10 to 15 games annually. In 2020, he overcame daunting bubble conditions to deliver heroic showings, reinforcing the notion that he can step up when it matters. But if a player only commits to peak intensity in the playoffs, it undermines the 82-game slate that fans pay to watch. Butler's availability headache is thus a microcosm of broader complaints about star-friendly load management. When someone who built a reputation on relentless hustle can vanish from regular season lineups, it's no wonder disillusioned fans crow that the NBA's weekly product often feels hollow. The disconnect between claiming loyalty to Heat culture yet missing big chunks of the year epitomizes a star who embodies both extremes. Fierce competitor in May, absent figure in February. If one polled a group of NBA fans on what's currently broken about the league, they might point to load management, bloated contracts, or an overemphasis on super teams as top culprits. In many ways, Jimmy Butler's journey symbolizes these critiques rolled into one. Butler's rumored demands for a final mammoth extension at 35 or 36 years old reflect a trend where borderline all-NBA names want max or near-max deals. We've seen Bradley Beal secure a monstrous contract in Washington despite limited availability or playoff impact. Butler's chase underscores how teams can get stuck paying top dollar for a star who might rest a quarter of the season. The common refrain, "he's saving himself for the playoffs," dulls the 82-game grind. If marquee players only rev the engines come April, the product from October to March suffers. Fans, especially those who buy tickets in January, feel shortchanged, compounding dissatisfaction with the NBA's day-to-day reliability. Instead of robust storylines about fierce rivalries, like Heat versus Knicks or Heat versus Celtics, headlines revolve around whether Butler is checked out, aiming to force a trade to the Suns, or seething at Pat Riley for refusing an extension. The shift from on-court battles to off-court melodrama saps fans' excitement. In past eras, a star missing a big chunk of the season might lead to public criticism or coaching disputes. These days, player empowerment culture can overshadow organizational discipline. The front office often tiptoes around around superstars' whims, fearing drama or free agent departure, thus enabling sporadic engagement. Butler's repeated stints, Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia, and now possibly out of Miami, fit the mold of star players hopping from team to team once friction arises. This phenomenon weakens continuity and the local fan base's emotional tie to a single star, ironically pushing them to watch only during big events or rely on highlight clips. Taken together, Butler's path signals a deeper systemic problem. Marquee names hold all the leverage, occasionally exploit rest strategies, and pivot to big contracts or trade demands at will. While star freedom isn't inherently bad, many argue the pendulum has swung too far. For them, Jimmy Butler is. Why the NBA sucks isn't a personal swipe. It's a shorthand for how the league's structure fosters contradictory incentives. Less reason to show up nightly, more reason to chase final paydays and ephemeral alliances rather than building a stable, watchable product. Jimmy Butler's occasionally tumultuous track record offers a blueprint for these star-driven sagas. At each previous stop, from Chicago to Minnesota to Philadelphia, the story ended with tension, claims of disrespect, and an ultimate departure. Drafted by the Bulls, Butler initially thrived under Tom Thibodeau's defense-first ethos, but frustration brewed as he wanted a more prominent offensive role. Contract disagreements followed. Eventually, he was traded to the Timberwolves. Despite fans praising him as a two-way stud, many also felt he overshadowed younger talents and demanded a top-tier contract they were hesitant to bestow. The infamous practice meltdown highlighted friction between Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns, who Butler felt lacked a competitive edge. He requested a trade, citing insufficient contract offers and a lack of alignment with the front office.
You were loud, emotional, passionate, we like to say, targeting Coach Tom Thibodeau, teammates like Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, that you told GM Scott Layton, "You effing need me." How would you describe what happened today?
A lot of it's true.
The standoff overshadowed that entire preseason, making the Wolves a sideshow until they shipped him to Philly months into the season. A half-season cameo teased a potentially deadly combination with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, culminating in a heartbreaking second-round Game 7 loss to Toronto. Yet once more, extension talks fizzled. Rumors circulated about behind-the-scenes friction, and Butler ultimately left for Miami in a sign and trade. The sense was that Philly's front office wasn't sold on giving him the max, nor was he content with a subordinate role. With that history, it's hardly shocking if a similar script unfurls in Miami. Despite leading them to multiple finals appearances, Butler's extension demands and public frustration once again sow seeds of discord. Many see a pattern. Once Butler feels underpaid or underappreciated, he stirs trouble. While it might reflect a genuine drive to be valued, from another angle, it highlights a combative approach, turning disagreement into drama that dominates headlines. Recently, chatter has pointed toward a possible union of Jimmy Butler and the Phoenix Suns, where he would presumably join forces with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. To some fans, it's a dream synergy, a tough-minded wing who thrives under playoff pressure, linking up with two polished scorers. Yet to skeptics, it's one more illustration of a super team obsession that fans claim is draining competitiveness from the league. Sources speculate that Butler, discontent with his contractual standoff in Miami, might push for a trade if extension talks stall further. Phoenix, having shown a willingness to roll the dice on big deals, as with Bradley Beal and KD, might be open to the idea, especially if they sense their championship window demands every star piece possible. Conceptually, Butler's defensive grit and mid-range prowess could patch some of the Suns' weaknesses. He's a better perimeter defender than either Beal or Booker, giving them a versatile wing stopper. On offense though, balancing the usage rates of Butler, Durant, Booker, and possibly DeAndre Ayton, if he's still there, might get complicated. A quartet of stars each expecting near max or max money would balloon Phoenix's payroll to a potentially historic level. For some fans, it epitomizes big market or big wallet owners trying to buy a ring, reminiscent of older super teams but with older players. The risk, if it fails, does Butler become another scapegoat, or do friction and swirling rumors begin anew? If it happens, Butler would be on his 5th team in under a decade. That transience highlights the modern league's star-hopping phenomenon, which critics Critics say fosters shallow fan loyalty. The constant reshuffling of rosters might break local connections, overshadowing genuine rivalry building. Ultimately, Phoenix's interest emphasizes the league's star-chasing dynamic. Even at 35 or 36, an unsettled star like Butler can command attention from contenders determined to gather as much firepower as possible. But if the Heat does indeed lose him, it's another instance of unresolved tension overshadowing a relationship that once looked promising, further fueling the notion that drama, rather than consistent team building, now drives too much of the NBA's storyline. Fans who once extolled the NBA for star consistency and fierce rivalries increasingly voice disillusionment. Butler's saga, missing swaths of regular season games, angling for giant paydays, threatening to join a new super team if demands aren't met, represents the brokenness they describe. If the finals are the only place where true effort is guaranteed, many wonder why watch from October to April. Instead of denouncing frequent rest, the league tries to impose modest fines or new rules, but star players and franchises find loopholes. Fans left disappointed by a marquee matchup minus its headliner see it as an extension of the Butler blueprint. Hold your body in reserve for a bigger contract or the playoffs. The NBA's CBA fosters a system where borderline superstars can demand near supermax deals. That's good for the players, but can hamper an organization's ability to build around them. And the spectacle that results if such deals crumble. For every Giannis or Curry who justifies a fortune, a Butler or Beal is pushing for amounts that overshadow their actual availability. Butler's exit scenarios enthrall talk shows, but overshadow daily game highlights. Rivalries centered on personal vendettas or contract spats overshadow on-court showdowns. The sense that the NBA storyline is mostly about free agency or potential trades leads casual fans to skip the routine 82 games, hopping on board only when major controversies arise. Jimmy Butler's story is a reflection of the modern NBA's rage, immense talent offset by contract disputes, selective in-game effort, and star relationships overshadowing raw competition. While he's showcased flashes of brilliance in huge playoff moments, his persistent calls for top-dollar extensions, rumored discontent, and recurring absences feed into criticism that the league no longer values the nightly grind. Before you click away, remember our Hoopshipe store is stocked with fresh gear hoodies, tees, and mugs. Show your basketball passion and support the channel by hitting view products or checking the link in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to catch our next one, shown on screen.